Inquisition, moving through the fakeness, hip-hop matrix vision. Back again, in these bars, this is my prison. Walls of these pages with pen shanks I'm scribbling. No visits, lines on paper, concrete walls. My margin is my showers and my washroom stalls. End of the page is when I make parole. Force me to execute rappers, then throw me in the hole. So much soul, the MC, not confined. The elements of hip-hop today are not combined. Almost seeing the other side, gotta stay focused. Just gotta let that phone ring and don't lose focus. They can't try to hocus pocus, send rapping jokers with handbags, Gucci purses and chokers. Jeans, wrestler, spandex tight, turning youths to robots. If you drink a Sprite, that's not what I say, that's what they do. Use rappers to sell you sneakers and Mountain Dew, flowing like a fountain dew. When you turn the lever, setting the bar for conscious MCs and rapping believers. Trapped with me in these bars, rappers begging for seizures. Hanging rappers with the strongest lines, squirm like leeches. Sentenced to the underground, no one hears your screams. Left right for the math for these black and yellow dreams. What happened to the MCs? Ask yourself. What happened to the DJ? Ask yourself. What happened to the grapher? Ask yourself. What happened to the dancer? Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself.
Check it. Let's open the book of hip-hop and make advances. My supreme knowledge of alchemical sciences only enhances my ability to drop metaphysical answers. When asked about the MC, the DJ, the grapher, the dancers, earth, air, fire, water, all being born to hip-hop. Study hard, you get that. Forget rap, cause it's not. The transformation from lead to go, from man to God, can be achieved through hip-hop. It's art, the planet's ours. The colors and tones and archetypes will spark the light. Give your third eye a bird's eye, restore the loss of sight. You already lost the fight whenever I come across the mic, because you're dealing with God and you can never exhaust the light. We making a shift from hip-hop to God-hop. It's the return of the ancient ones and we coming non-stop. So when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. So I'm here, straight from the boogie down, so have no fear.
What happened to the MCs? Ask yourself. What happened to the DJ? Ask yourself. What happened to the grapher? Ask yourself. What happened to the dancer? Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself. It's only in the underground, unseen but heard. Oracles, words, and metaphoric slurs. Riding on the soothe the savage beat tones. Paparazzi taking pictures, talking on the phone. Pictures tell 1,000 words. Bus drivers on camera, reading or sleeping while driving on camera. He might even be hammered. It's not even lunch yet. Didn't have breakfast, clock not even punch yet. Send that to the news and post on YouTube. Hits some people get are in the thousands, not few. Charge $1, make $1 million. Set up a website and PayPal, make a killing. Right, psych, that's all just hype. I'm on the streets bringing youths from darkness to light. I'm in their courts, not playing ball but schooling them crossover thoughts. It's not training camp like October sports. Season's been started. Sam's goons shoot shadow targets. Got them thinking it's the shoes when they're the market. Got them thinking it's the booze and blunts you smoke. Got them thinking magazine monthly hip-hop quotes have the best lines. They can't test time. Rappers gets awards for MC best albums and best rhymes. I was the brush carrier with fades and waves. Didn't know that hairstyle was from the ancient days. Me doing the work for the Amazon matriarchal. Rapping hip-hop today is so patriarchal. Female MCs on the mic are probably no 6. The game is like church and demigods, no woman on pulpits. We have to say what we must, sow some seeds so we can grow strong trees with the bedsheet leaves. Deadbeat seas, most navigate with flows. I flow on papyrus beat boats as I write these scrolls. Bringing back the hip-hop's constitutional fold. Even mics can't escape, catch a bruise when I hold. My paper trails leave them, soothe when I owe. Apply more science, never get booed when I flow. Cushion pen, not the cush when you see I blow. Flow for right years when my 3 eyes glow. And head and rapper inquisition. Pen mighty and the swords not even on ink we missing. What happened to the MCs? Ask yourself. What happened to the DJ? Ask yourself. What happened to the grapher? Ask yourself. What happened to the dancer? Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Ask yourself.
Alrighty, we're going to begin class now. We begin each class by reading chapter 25 of the Holy Quran, and I left my Quran at home, so Roz typed it to me, or typed and texted it to me. Thank you very much, Roz. So I'm going to read, if you are in agreement with the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, divinely prepared by Prophet Noble Jew Ali, affirm Islam after I finish reading. Ye are the children of one Father, provided by his care, and the breast of one mother has given thee suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers and sisters, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that binds you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him out. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his whole nation. Care thee continues to you all in your love to one another. All right, Islam. Welcome back, everyone. I feel like we haven't been here in forever, but we weren't. We weren't here last month because of snow. And so it was a while since we've been here. How many people listen to our Tuesday broadcast? How many people know we have a Tuesday broadcast? Oh, all right, cool. How many people don't know we have a Tuesday broadcast? We have a MHHS blog talk radio broadcast every Tuesday, and this class is being broadcast as well. And I must sound good because I didn't get any text messages that I don't. This class is broadcast as well. And then every third Thursday, we have Sons of Allah, which begins at 9 p.m., although we won't be having it for the month of April. So check May for the Sons of Allah. And then we have Sisters Standing on Law, which is the third Sunday of every month, which is this coming Sunday at 1 p.m., geared towards the sisters because the sisters need to get caught up on law and how to handle their affairs and protect the family. And let's see, Tuesday broadcast begins at 9:30. And you can ask questions on the Tuesday broadcast. We have, when we're not here, which is the first and fourth Wednesday of the month, and if there's a fifth, then we broadcast, and you can just call in and listen. The first and the fourth Wednesday broadcast is called Circle of Readers. How many people have tuned into the Circle of Readers? Nobody? Oh, wow. In the Circle of Readers, what we do is we read a book for about an hour, and then we discuss what we read. We started this around April. The first book we read was a book called White Cargo, and it talked about the history of Britain's slaves in America. How many people knew that those slaves were modern Europeans, not Asiatic? You did? Well, we read the whole, you reading it now? Oh, all right. We read the whole book and we had a discussion. And then after that, we read They Were White and They Were Slaves. How many people heard about that? But you got that one too? And right now we're reading Ancient and Modern Britons. How many people have read that book? Let me tell you, that book, the first, I'm told, well, we read 3 chapters so far, and they were very, very trying to read. I understand why a lot of people probably do not read that book, because it is not a user-friendly book in terms of the word. But I was told after chapter 4 it gets better, so we are persevering on, because we don't start anything and stop until we get to the end. So we are reading that, and then after we read that, the next book up is going to be a book called White Gold. How many people have heard of that book? White Gold chronicles how the Moors would kidnap modern Europeans as far as the Americas and enslave them, treated them horribly. I always thought that the Moors of Morocco were noble people and didn't treat modern Europeans in a terrible fashion like their cousins, the brutish Moors. So I was kind of shocked to see that treated them worse. But after talking with Abdullah, and putting some things into perspective, I can't say that I agree with that kind of behavior, but I understand it, and I also understand it wasn't all Moors, all Sultans that behaved that way. So that's going to be some interesting heritage accounts that many of us probably didn't know about, just like white gold or white cargo. They were white and they were slaves. There's a lot of books. There's a lot of information out there that tells the truth about history, and you can understand why the true Slavic, which is the word for slave, don't really want to tell that story. You can understand why they don't want that story to be told. They would rather promote the misinformation, which is all Asiatic people are the original and only slaves, and that's not true. We were enslaved, but we were not originally slaves. And this whole concept of slavery, it's pretty, how slavery is being, perpetuated today, that's pretty modern. Being a slave was never a lifetime sentence. It was something that was for a time, and then you were liberated, or if you converted to Islam, then you were free. But there's this whole thing going on. How many people think that the war that's going on is between Christians and Islam? How many people thought that? What changed your mind? So you still think that the war that's going on is between Islam and Christians? I thought that too. Well, I didn't really think that. I heard it and I just accepted it. And then as I'm reading how anybody who calls himself a Christian is absolutely persecuted, I was like, it's got to be more than, who you're praying to. What is the big deal? So I happened to call Abdullah, RVBey, our etymologist, and I asked him, and he said no, they just use religion propaganda. The real reason is that Moors have been murdered and displaced from their land by people operating under the banner of Christianity. And so when the Moors, under the banner of Islam, retaliate back through the years, instead of them telling the truth that you murdered the Aboriginal indigenous people and you displaced them from the land, they tell the propaganda story that it's a religious war. How many people have heard that? It's not a religious war. And when you put it in that perspective and you look back at the history, you see, oh, this is what happened. Like in the book White Gold, I was reading how the land that is today called Spain was called Al-Andalus, and a huge portion of that was inhabited by Moors, Asiatic people under the banner of Islam, and the Christians murdered a lot of them, and remove them from the land. And for years, Moors have been fighting back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then there was this big push to just eliminate them. And that, I believe, took place through Muley Ismail, and the Christians decided, forget about it. They can have it. So they burnt down everything and left the land for the Moors to take back. How about that for giving you back your ancestral estate? Yeah. Yeah, I've read that book. Yes. There's a lot of books out there with interesting information. Some you got to, research, because some of it is not entirely accurate, but they do give you pieces of information. Now, somebody might want to know, well, why are we always talking about history? What's the big deal? Well, you have to know the heritage. You have to know how things got started. You have to know why they got started. And you have to also look at what is continuing what was started. And today, the issue is nationality, right? And do you think the issue of nationality is just for war? Absolutely, because it's worldwide. It's a worldwide issue. And that's what I want to talk about, and I hope I can keep it straight. Because what has happened around the world is that people have been branded and rebranded something that has nothing to do with your lineal descent bloodline. So when you look at them on paper, they look like corporations, because the people are being joined to corporations as opposed to bloodline. And if you're associating yourself with a corporation, then the law that applies to one's nationality, or the law that applies to you, is based on your nationality. You follow me? But if you appear to be joined to a corporation, then are we talking about laws as it relates to nationality? No, we're not. And so this is what they do. They have people saying that, where do you come from? Now, just think in terms of, before you got into this information, what would have been your response? Where do you come from? Go ahead. Say Africa? All right. How about you? You would have said Africa? What about you? South Carolina, right? What about you? Jamaica, right? How about you? Bronx. All right? All of those things are corporations. They're not even landmass. So even Africa, the word Africa is a modern word. You can't even be that, and the majority of the people from that landmass don't call themselves Africans. My point is, if you identify yourself by a corporation, does it not stand to reason that the policies and the procedures of that corporation is what's going to apply to you? Right? Because you haven't attached yourself to a family of one of the nations. You haven't identified yourself as a human being. Right? Am I correct? All right. Now, who was it that said they came from North or South Carolina? Where'd your mother come from? All right. Whose mother was from someplace other than where they were born? Where? Alabama? What about you? Dominican Republic. Where were you born? So you would say you're associated with the Bronx, right? but the Dominican Republic is a corporation as well, right? So now if I was to look if I was to draw out a chart of, let's say, do you know where your grandmother come from? Where? What about your great-grandmother? Wait, it's all about the mother, right? So anybody have a grandmother that came from somewhere other than near where the mother was born? Where? St. Croix. Where was your mother born? New York. And you were? All right. New York. All right. Well, I'm going to merge you two together, all right, just to make a point. All right. Let's say St. Croix, grandmother, because they don't care about the name, right? So St. Croix, did I spell that right? St. Croix, right? Then mother was where? New York. And where did you say you were from? Dominican. Let's say you was born in the Dominican Republic, right? This is what your bloodline looks like. This is what your bloodline looks like. St. Croix, New York, Dominican Republic. That's your bloodline, right? That's because they're not talking about you, flesh and blood. They're right? And if you wanted to leave St. Croix, is St. Croix part of the United States? So if you wanted to leave St. Croix, what do you got to do? You got to get permission from the employees of St. Croix, right? And what about Dominican Republic? Same thing? Same thing, right? But you're human beings. That's like saying, this is the chair of the Dominican Republic, property of the Dominican Republic, New York, and St. Croix, and I got to go to the employee and say, look, I want to borrow this chair. Can I take it? And they say, yes, you can, but you can only go so far as, and then you can only stay there for as long as, and then you got to come back and get permission again. And if you overstay your time away and you happen to be here, they will send their property back to the Dominican Republic, right? Now, a lot of people will look at this and they'll be like, well, that's commerce. Well, yeah, it is. But you cannot make a claim using commerce when you're talking about a human being, right? And to do so would be absolutely foolish. Do you know why? Absolutely no rights. But what else? From an international perspective, what else does that mean? No. Sister Q Trust is a commercial activity. We're not talking about commerce. We're talking about human beings. We're talking about the grandmother, the mother, and the son. See, a lot of people, they want to go in and they want to talk commerce as it relates to human beings. Let me tell you, you will always, always, always fail. Thank you, my son. It is human trafficking. And where do issues of human trafficking get hurt? International court. And what would the charge be? Would it be, oh, they stole my property and won't give it back? No, it wouldn't be, right? It wouldn't be. Because, see, you cannot even go into United Nations or the Organization of States or any component that fights human trafficking, talking about joining you and taking away your unalienable liberty if you think that you are in any way, shape, or form associated with a corporation or corporate activity, which is commerce. You follow me? A lot of people want to say things like, oh, I don't want to be a part of RVBey publication, or they don't want me to, they're preventing me from getting my nationality, or you have to join a temple in order to get your nationality. Can anybody tell me why that statement, those types of statements are ridiculous? Yes, that's right. That's right. So when people say, oh, no, you have to be a member of an organization in order to claim your nationality, or you got to go to a corporation in order to get your nationality, what are they talking about? Exactly. Can you talk human trafficking and commerce? No. You cannot. You know what? That's something I want to talk about too. Jurisdiction. How many people have gone to, we're in this New York area, and you go, these employees will give you some demand for income. They call it a citation, right? They'll demand, it's a demand for income, right? It's a demand for income. So they'll give you a demand for income, and then you will go in there and you'll say, well, you don't have jurisdiction, right? We say this, right? Now, is New York City government? So how do we even talk about jurisdiction with a company? In order for you to really talk about jurisdiction, you have to be in some type of a lawfully seated court, like a district court, perchance, right? But when you're dealing with employees of a municipal corporation, the key word there is corporation. That's like going to Walmart and you buy something and the cashier doesn't give you all your change. And you go to her boss and he's trying to say, well, you got your stuff. And you say, yeah, but you don't have jurisdiction. You're in Walmart. The issue of jurisdiction doesn't even apply because you have to first be in a lawful court. Right? Have we thought about this? Y'all are quiet. Let me hear your thoughts. Well, here's the thing. What would the fight be? Because, see, I am pretty sure that you receive claims in the mail every day. Do you fight all of them? Well, no. Think about it. Junk mail is a claim. Offer something, right? So if you get, for example, what if Capital One sent you an offer, which is a claim, it's an offer claim type of thing, right? Would you fight it? No. They're sending you, and I'm going to give you this credit card for 300 notes. It's a claim, offer, same thing. I mean, right? Are you going to fight it? So that means that certain things we need to step back and look at because everything is not always a fight. It's not. It's just, if somebody makes a claim, I can go to you and I can say, those are my shoes, take them off. That's a claim, right? Are you going to go get a gun? Are you going to stand up and talk about, well, you don't have jurisdiction? What are you going to say? You're probably going to say something like, no, these are my shoes, and I can prove it because I have the sales receipt. complicated and convoluted. They make it so difficult. Like you get into, oh my God, what if they say this? What do I say? Oh, let me find a script. If they say this, I'm going to say this. If they say this, I'm going to say this. What if it's not on the script? What are you going to say? Because they're not going to follow the script. They're not. But one thing you can be sure of, if you're dealing with a municipal corporation, then the question is, how is it that you can tell me what I can and cannot do? You don't ask them that. You think to yourself, how is it that they can get me to do how is it that they can tell me what I can and cannot do? How is that possible? Because they're government? You think it's because they're laws? You think it's because you're in a so-called court? You think that's the real reason? No, that's commerce, honey. It's commerce. You keep coming with UCC lingo. I'm very familiar with that. No, they don't. Everybody acts that way. If you go to the hospital, they'll behave in the same manner. You go to this institution they call school, they do the same thing there. You go to the grocery store, they do the same thing there. They do these things across the board. And a lot of what they do because the vast majority of the people don't know jack. And then you got other people out there that's trying to make a name for themselves, and they're browbeating you with commerce, UCC lingo. That means absolutely nothing. Just because they are here to do commerce doesn't mean that you were here to do commerce. Most people are here just to live, having nothing to do with commerce. And nobody has the right to ram it down your throat, not a municipal corporation employee, and not somebody on YouTube or Facebook that's pressing the UCC lingo on you. You had a question? That's correct. That's correct. Many of us right now is suffering from the mental conditioning that we have. It's working against us right now. And then the other part of that is lack of information, and then there's another part of misinformation. Now, or even if the information is misinformation, how can you figure out if it's misinformation or not? But in order for you to figure that out, you have to do what? What? I heard it. Research. Exactly. All information is always open for research. All the time. Throw nothing away and take nothing for granted, which means that study is supposed to be going on 24/7, 365 days of the Christian Gregorian calendar, so-called, right? It never ends. Study never, ever ends, because right now you're in a place where people are always trying to rob from you. So you have to study to be vigilant. You can never sleep on this. Yes. All right, but see, before that came, some other stuff was on the table. You can't just go to the end and deal with it. You got to go to the beginning. And you got to evaluate what you have, and you have to study, because the IRS is not somebody to play with. You have to study because they will come and put you on the street and they don't care. Cannot. You know, you have to evaluate who you're dealing with. Don't show up to the gunfight with a butter knife. And a butter knife is being unprepared. You're not going to get prepared in a week or a month, maybe not even a year. Because the IRS, they are ruthless employees that do not care about anything. They go in there, they got a job to do, and in their mind, they got to do their job. They don't even see you as a human being. They just see you as somebody who owes. How many people have ever worked in a job, and when you started, you were very positive? And then after a while, you were looking for the problem. It's human nature. You know, in actuality, that's a sign of burnout. Time to move on. But most people can't afford to move on. So they stay there, and then they start looking for problems, even when there are none. But I want to get back to that because, see, people look at this whole thing of nationality. They say things that really is troubling to me because I know if you say that to the wrong person, you might end up in a bad situation. And it's based on lack of information, and lack of information is always based on lack of study. You never, ever, ever need to take it upon yourself to go and challenge anything. Because when you have studied enough, the universe will bring the challenge to your front door. So study and be prepared because it's going to come. Why will the challenge come? Because the reason people are in this dimension is because you are here to have these experiences, because these experiences help you to grow spiritually. If you didn't have to grow spiritually, you wouldn't be here. But you can't grow spiritually unless you have some challenges. And so when the challenges come, don't cry about it. Just know that, okay, this is a lesson to help me grow spiritually. There are no failures. The only time that you can consider something a failure is when you don't act. When you try to run from your lesson, because you can. You run from your lesson, that's just a break. Because when the lesson comes again, it'll be that much harder. Because you're here to learn lessons, to grow spiritually. You are not here to go and party and then do the electric slide and find a girlfriend or a boyfriend or be the sharpest dresser, have the most fly car, fly around the world, be like Jay-Z and Beyonce. All that is an illusion. That's not why you're here. You're here to grow spiritually. So be prepared for the lessons that will come. Know what you're studying, know what you are about, and know how to defend it. And the only way that you can know how to defend it is if you absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, know that your nationality is based on the blood running through your veins. If you say anything else, you're done. If you think anything else, you're done. If you present a position that even implies anything else, you're done. Because this is about bloodline. So, if I, in some way, because people are always promoting what they're joined to. You ever see these people with the sweatshirts and it says Brooklyn? I had a T-shirt. It was so comfortable. I loved it, but it had HARLEM on it. So I had to stop wearing it because I can't figure out how to get the letters off because it's not stitched on. It's pasted on somehow. So I can't wear it because I'm not going to go around branding myself and letting people think, oh, you know, I'm attached to HARLEM because now if they, you know, pull me over, they're going to be trying to apply HARLEM policies and procedures on me, right? Now, some people think, oh, well, you know, that can happen if you have the driver's instrument. No, it can't. Because you have to understand what the driving instrument is. How many people know what the driving instrument is? What is it? Somebody, tell me. Really? How so? It's a commercial contract? How is it a contract? Really? Where are the terms and conditions on whatever it is you sign? Do you know the terms and conditions? A contract can't be valid if you don't even know what the terms and conditions are. How many people, I know I'm dating myself with this, but I love to say, how many people remember Dallas? Wow. Wow. The show with J.R. Ewing and his brother, and how many people remember Dallas? Okay, that's a little better. How many people remember Dynasty? Knots Landing? Yes. Huh? It is. How many people remember in Dallas, they were entering into an agreement, and I think they was dealing maybe in oil, I don't know, and they had, both parties had a copy of the contract, right? And they read each line, you agree to that, yeah, I agree to that, and they initially, and then the next line, do you agree to that? No, that's too much. You can't have 50%. You can have, 25%, and I reserve my right to change that in the future if, all goes well. And they would agree to that and initially, right? And then at the bottom of the page, they would initial the page, turn it, and do it again until they were done. That is a valid contract. Did that happen to anybody at the DMV? You never was dealing with a contract. Yeah, but you didn't go line by line. Well, this is what I'm going to do. This is what you're going to do. Like, here's the thing with the driver's instrument. Now, license, what they're saying is you are receiving a benefit, right? Is that not the implication? You're receiving a benefit. Does anybody know what the benefit is? What's the benefit? You don't know what the benefit is? Okay, what's the privilege? No, that's not a privilege. No, because, see, traveling, it is different from driving. And traveling is a liberty that cannot be liened, which means it is unalienable. People say that word unalienable, and it's like it goes right over their head. Like, I wrote it out one time. Unalienable. Look at it. Lien. Everybody know what lien is? What is a lien? It's a claim, and in this case, it would what goes with a lien? What is the exchange? What is the demand when the lien is involved? Say it again. Note. Well, in this infrastructure, it's Federal Reserve notes, right? So how many people have ever experienced or know of somebody who they had a house and a lien was placed on it. All right? Now, did the lien have a dollar amount attached to it? Right? Yes. So when they lien your liberty, is that not a violation? So that would be unconstitutional, right? So how do they try to get around it? They try to say, you were not traveling, you were driving. But that can't fly either. Do you know why? Anybody? You don't have to be working for a corporation. But how? Really? No. 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 Explain to me how the birth certificate means that you are dealing in commerce. You cannot say things if you can't support it with verifiable documentation. What's the contract? What's the contract? We just went over how it's not a license. You mean the driving aspect? Even if you do have the driver's license, what does it imply? What is it for? No, it's not. That's not. No, well, it is, but how? What is the purpose of the driver's license? If I'm giving you a driver's license, yes. No, actually it means you failed the test. No. All right. Go ahead. You had what kind of commercial activity? In order for what is a driver? What does a driver do? Not good. It's not good. It's because the word driver is attached to a chauffeur. Somebody who is picking up someone and dropping them off for some sort of compensation. The whole reason that the driver's license got established was because if you get in a taxi or somebody who is operating as a chauffeur and they injure you, you're supposed to be able to get their license number and sue them because they injured you while they were conducting business. But if I get into my conveyance to go to the grocery store, am I a driver or am I a traveler? Exactly. And guess what? If you look in your Black's Law 4th edition dictionary, when I looked up and saw the definition of driver and the definition of traveler, I almost fell on the floor. You have to go back and you got to look up things. Don't just think you know. And you might have seen it 3 or 4 years ago, but there's so much that happens in 3 to 4 years that it might disappear somewhere in your cranium, and you got to go and pull it back to the front. Because just with that definition alone, I can make my point. Of course, I'm not going to say that to the ignorant employee that's roaming around on the street, because unfortunately, they're pawns. They are in that position to take the hit, because when crack rolls down, it's going to fall on them every single time. They're going to get let go if you sue them. And by suing them, you are enforcing the Constitution, and you are preserving your liberty. Because it's nobody else's job to preserve your liberties but yours. That means you need to be prepared. Don't go whining. I need somebody to write me a writ. I need somebody to come save me. Oh my God, they took my national identification card. What am I going to do? Wow. Save yourself. Study. Be prepared. Don't be making moves that you cannot stand on lawfully, because your job, if you didn't know it, is to always make sure that the law is on the table. And if it's not on the table, your job is to put it on the table. But you can't put Jack on the table if you don't know law. And this is where employees will have a field day with you, because you don't know. So you're going to be a revenue generator, or you're going to study and you are going to protect yourself. I'm not here to protect him or her. I'm here to protect me. Why? Am I being cruel by saying that? She's so heartless. She doesn't care about none of you. That's not true. But I know the science. I can go and I can write the most bangingest writ to get you out of your situation. But the principles of nature and science tells me that if in your mind you are constructing a reality that is contrary to what my writ is intending to do, your mind is going to win over my banging writ every single time. That's why there is that adage out there: change your mind and you change your world. Literally. Because if you didn't know it, how many people read the Quran? The Holy Quran of Prophet Noble Ali. Chapter 1. If you don't do nothing, read chapter 1. You don't need to read no more Quran. I mean, you can read the rest. But chapter 1 is the beginning and the end. Because chapter 1 tells you what? That man is mine. Right? What does that mean? That means that you are creating your world based on the thoughts you think all day long. All day long. I sit and I listen to people. And I listen to them tell me the world they are manifesting for themselves every day. And if I say, no, don't say that, you're creating something you don't want, they will say, I got to say it, I got to get it off my chest. No, you don't. Grill that up and put it in the trash, because you're creating exactly what you say you don't want. Exactly. And then, you know, in science they talk about the Trinity, right? In the Bible they say the Trinity is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. The reality of the situation is the Trinity in each and every one of us is what you think, what you say, and what you back it up with emotion. It will manifest every single time. How many sisters can relate to me? How many times have you been like that, falling down, crying, bawling, damn near pulling your hair out, tearing your clothes about some situation that you have experienced or you thought you experienced? You might have been in a situation with a guy and you thought he cheated on you. You was crying and he wasn't cheating on you. But all of that energy that you just manifested with the thinking and the words and backing it up with all of that emotion, it's going to manifest. Yep. It wasn't a thought. prior to that, but it is now. That's the science. We're running around here and we're speaking exactly what we say we don't want. And it's manifesting and we're surprised. I know. How many times have you gotten into your conveyance and out of your peripheral vision, you see the flashing red and blue lights. And immediately, it's like somebody threw ice cold water on you. Your heart starts beating faster, and you're looking around, and you probably do a mental check of, do I have everything? Yes, I got everything. I'm straight. And then you start looking around only to see the car go right by you. All of that manifests something that will show up. So we have to work on getting that out of your mind. And some of the things, there's a lot of things that you can do. One of the things that you can definitely do is write a mantra. And it's got to be positive, and it can't speak of what you don't want. It got to speak of what you want 100%. Now, I know for you guys this might be a challenge, but one of the most powerful energies out there is love. So create a mantra that says something like, I'm only visible to love. Because them people cruising around is not about love. So if you create a mantra and you say that over and over and over and over and over again, it's going to create a different vibration within you, right? And when they start cruising around, they will not see you. That is the science. Chapter 1 of the Holy Quran, that is what it is talking about. It says man is mind, and the seed that it is talking about is not what you think is coming out of your testicles. The seed that is talked about in chapter 1 is the thought. The thought. What you think of all the time. Most of us don't even know we're thinking thoughts that destroy us because we don't even pay attention to what's flittering through our mind. And if you listen to this crap they call music, and if you watch this crap they call TV now, there's some things that you can watch with discernment, but you can't watch it and get yourself in a better place at the same time, which means you're going to have to turn off the TV and you're going to have to be like Jesus and go in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights so that you can exercise out of your cranium that information that is working against you right now. Because I know if you haven't been focusing, if you haven't been practicing changing your mind, those flashing red and blue lights that just went by, your mind went right out the window and away from what I was saying. Because that is the power of the mind. And if everything begins and ends in the mind, this is the one of the Circle 7 Quran. So, how do you change the mind? You have to change it with information. You got to read. You got to study. You know, when I was going to college, I was taking 6 classes, working full-time, and taking care of 3 children and a house. I got A's and B's. Am I super smart? Yes, I am. because I bought a cassette recorder. Yes, I'm dating myself. And I recorded every class. And then I went home and I listened to the tape over and over and over and over. And that is how I got that information into this cranium so that I can get A's and B's, 6 classes, full time, 3 babies, and I was running a house. Where there's a will, there is a way. So nobody has room for excuses. And I'm not judging anybody, but I would prefer you just say, hey, I don't feel like doing that anymore. And I'm cool. But don't tell me, I tried and I tried and I. No, you didn't. Because to try means I really didn't want to do it. Try and I didn't want to do it, it's synonymous. You're either going to do it or you're not going to do it. And it's all right if you don't want to do it, because it is a lot of work. Taking 100% responsibility of oneself is a lot of work. But look, Prophet Noble Jew Ali, he brought us a program. That program is to learn how to handle your affairs. Now, if you're not up for that challenge, you can continue to be the dependent of every single corporation that's got their hands in your pocket, and they can handle your affairs because they're doing that now. So the decision is always yours. In the Bible they talk about many will be called and few will be chosen, and everybody's like, well, choose me. I'm going to be chosen. I want to be in those numbers, and why don't you choose me? Oh, look, they chose all of them people, and they didn't choose me. Nobody chooses you. You choose yourself. You choose yourself by where you spend your energy. Now, if you at the club, we know you ain't interested in it. And that's cool, because that's your choice. Free will. It's a beautiful thing. But if you want to be independent, it's going to take work. And you are going to make mistakes. And you are going to mess up. And guess what? Sometimes you're going to write a banging writ. That doesn't work. That's not grounds for throwing it all away. Because, see, you are never going to be able to sharpen your mind unless you have some resistance. Never. You're never going to know your full potential unless somebody comes at you trying to take away your liberty. And sometimes you will do all of this studying and you will wonder, am I on the right track? Am I on the right track? And the universe will send you a test. And the test will show up and you'll be all freaked out. Oh, my God. They just like, God, oh, God. And guess what? All of what you studied, and you're going to get your car back. And now if you backtrack and ask yourself, well, how did this happen? Because you said, I wonder if I'm on the right track. I wonder if I'm on the right track. I wonder if I'm on the right track. And the universe sent you a message, test, you pass. Yes, you're on the right track. Keep up the good work. Yes.
Not familiar with the Moorish website, you're making a huge mistake. And if you go to law library, you might have to take 2 years to figure out that. But it's just one book. And it's all called law figure out if you don't know how to use the law, and they don't need to use the law. Now, think about it. If you're in some sort of a competition, some sort of a fight, and the only slogan in connection with this brainwash for this, you do not have to beat someone who has already beaten themselves. And because they are not using legitimate law, they lost before the week. As soon as they started their nonsense, they lost already. Think about that. And don't ever forget it. You don't have to beat the competitor who's beating themselves. They didn't even win. You have to show up. Like words on the paper. That website looks. It's amazing what I found this website. It has nothing to do with it.
He's talking about RVBey publications. RVBey. It's RVBey, B-E-Y, publications with an S, publications.com. Sometimes you might want to get valid chronicles of the past. I hate to call it history because history really means his story. And much of what we've been taught is his story, not an accurate account. So where you can go is the congressional records or the congressional globes, but that's not user-friendly. So what we did was we pulled out some pertinent pieces of information and a lot of other stuff, and it's published up on RVBeypublications.com. So instead of you trying to navigate through the congressional records and, and find stuff, you can just go to RVBey Publications and you can get great historical information. And a lot of the books, it's interesting that a lot of books are coming out now that's telling the truth about who is who and what is what, who the real slaves were and are still. Just because you got slaves telling you what you can and cannot do don't mean that they're not the slaves. But, this word slave, a lot of people, they don't know that slave is the English slave, all right? That's the English word for Slavic, which is a group of modern Europeans. Today, those people are misclassified as white people. Now, this whole thing about white and black is really interesting because we were reading in Ancient and Modern Britain, and in there it tells you the original meaning of the word white and black. And let me think, am I going to be able to find it? I was so amazed at it, I posted it up on the MHHS Eyes Wide Open Facebook, as well as, I didn't put it on the Moorish News. I'm going to have to put it on the Moorish News. But in there, it says that the word black or kara means a servant. So if you were a servant, you were black. If you were independent or sovereign, you were white or ox. So, and it says that if you left the status of servitude and you became independent, you can change from black to white. Now, the word black and white, as we've been conditioned to believe, you can't change, right? You can't change from black to white or white to black, right? But that is not the true meaning of that word. And you know how many people saw Michael Jackson, the little European girl that Michael Jackson claimed as his daughter? How many people saw her? I don't even know what her name is. And you know, it doesn't even matter. But she made a public post, and she, as pale as she is, said, I consider myself to be black. Now, when people saw that, they should have immediately realized black has nothing to do with skin complexion. Because that little Lily pale complexion girl is the exact opposite of what we have been mentally led to believe is black. But now if you go and you look up in the dictionary, black means pale. So she is 100% correct. But how many people follow that? I'm pretty sure that a lot of people who classify themselves as black was upset. This little girl gonna call herself black. She ain't black. Yes, she is. Go look at the dictionary word for black. So I want to everybody clear that it doesn't matter what you want to. You can go join the Y. Does that change your nationality? You can go join a Moorish temple, or you can go join a Jewish temple. Does that change your nationality? Does it give you your nationality? Does it take your nationality away? You can go to the RVBey Publications website and get those names, them documents sealed. You can get the national identification card. You can have a driving instrument. Does it change your nationality? Does it give you your nationality? Does it take it away? No. You see, Nobuju Ali said that he came to teach you to be yourself and to get you to thinking, because he said the enslavement is not physical, it's mental. So if you can gather enough information, enough to change your mind, is it safe to say that your world will change too? Right. Now I'm going to date myself again. I just love movies that give you a message. Star Wars. Now, when it first came out, it was 1, but today I think it's 3 or 4. No. The first one was New Hope. What was the first? Well, when it had 4, what is it called? New Hope. Now, New Hope was 1 back when it first came out. I want to say in the 80s, 70s. All right. Now, in there, it's talking to you about manifesting the mind, right? Remember the part in there where Obi-Wan Kenobi and what's his name, Luke, was in, and I think the robots, they were in their little cruiser, and they got stopped by a droid. And Obi-Wan Kenobi said, "You're all right." No, they stopped him and they said, "Let me see your back." And Obi-Wan Kenobi said, you don't need passes. And the robot said, "You don't need passes." And then Obi-Wan Kenobi said, "Go on about your business." And the robot said, "Go on about your business." No, what it was energy. If your energy is correct, you can change your world, because it is through your mind that you created your world. Exactly. And fear will stop you in your tracks every single time. That's why I do not watch this crap they call the news, because they sell fear. That's all they sell is fear. They never say anything good, because fear paralyzes people. I don't listen to this crap they call music either, because if you listen to the words, I'm old school. I listen to the words. It's very degrading, not just for women, but for everybody. And it will paralyze you. And you know what? If you listen to some of these songs over and over and over again, you know, one of these comedians said that he went to the club and they was playing the music. It had a nice beat, but the words were scandalous. And the girls were bopping all over the place, and he was like, the words of the song was rude and disrespectful to the sisters. And he stopped the sisters and he said, "Yo, did you hear what the words are saying?" And the girl was like, "Oh, I don't listen to the words. The beat is, the beat is bad, or the beat is, the beat is what's on." That is how they mentally condition you. Back in the day, that would be called subliminal messaging. Subliminal messaging. Exactly. Yes, but they don't call it that today. Today they call it rap, hip-hop. Then everybody wants to talk about, it's the frequency. It's the frequency. No, it's the repetitiveness. Because people buy stuff and they listen to it over and over and over again. Am I correct? They have to change the music because the music will change your mind. See, back when I was growing up, we had songs that talked about a family affair. We had songs that talked about dance, right? And love. Oh, my goodness. We had songs that talked about love where guys were not ashamed to get down on bended knees and beg a sister. Today, guys are sitting in a chair talking about bitch, this and this, that. No, you're not going to have a good relationship at all, male or female, if you're being rude and disrespectful to each other. And if you are listening to these songs, you're going to be rude and disrespectful to each other because over time, those words are going to condition you. And then if he's conditioned and starts behaving based on the words of the song, and he does it, and he does it, and she does it, and he does it, and then he looks over at him to determine, well, am I doing something different? And he sees he's doing the same thing he's doing, and he's doing, and he's doing. He's going to think, well, this is the norm. This is the norm. Right? This is how everybody's life is. That crap is not normal. It is not normal to come home and be uncomfortable. It's not normal. It's not normal to not have somebody that you can talk to and y'all are living in the same house. It's not normal to go weeks and not say nothing to each other and you're under the same roof. It's not normal. None of that crap is normal. But if you listen to this so-called music and if you watch, oh my God, his reality shows, Lord, have mercy, and Jesus, and all the saints, and the ancestors, and all of these reality shows of Asiatic people. All of them. And they look horrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible example for the world. International law says that your culture and custom confirms your nationality. How many people are dressed to exemplify their nationality, which is a part of your culture and custom? You know they're watching every last one of you. As soon as you even think to put your name on a proclamation or name correction, and even as you put the stamp on it to send it off to the world, They're watching you. Because international law says that your nationality will be confirmed not by what you say, but what you say, how you look, how you demonstrate. How many people say this is my ancestral estate and then throw trash on the ground? Yes.
Well, if things don't fit right, that's the definition of sport. You're making claims to beat something. So if you just set yourself up the way they set themselves up, it's in harmony with the beat.
Well, I want to interject something. How many people think that what's going on is fraud? Whatever. Pick a subject. Fraud. What? How many think it's fraud? All right. So let me ask you this: if you were to present a claim, would you say in your document that this is fraud? How? Tell me, how would you prove that? Do you know that means nothing when you're talking about fraud? Do you know how you have to prove fraud? Do you know in order to claim fraud, you have to prove that they intended to do that. That means you have to prove you know what was in their mind. Can anybody prove that? Nope. No, but you can't call it fraud. But what you can do is, for example, say I go to get a job, right? And they say, oh, I need to see your birth certificate. Why? I'm standing right here. What is a piece of paper going to tell you about me that supersedes what I tell you about me? Now, this can go two ways. Because I can say I'm offended because I feel like you're calling me a liar about me and my person. That's slander. I can prove it, too, because you said it. I'm standing right here. Why would I need to go and bring papers from a complete stranger, not a part of my family, and these papers will supersede what I said? Do you think I'm lying? That's one way. Now, the other way is, show me verifiable documentation that it is your policy to demand a third-party document having nothing to do with me in order for me to get a job. And you don't even have to go there, because, see, that might be going to guns a little too quickly. You might want to say, is that company policy or your personal opinion? Because if it's not written in their company policy, then it's their personal opinion. So now if it's their personal opinion, would I be suing the company or would I be suing the individual? Well, you might. No, I wouldn't sue both because, see, that if they cannot give me the company policy, then it's not a company, and I can't substantiate that. But I can tell you what came out of this person's mouth. And I can tell you that it was, and I can even factor in that it was offensive and derogatory to me and my person. But we have to be able to bring verifiable documentation to substantiate anything that we say. You know why? Because what? Because you are the injured party. But if you don't come with verifiable documentation to support what you say, they can charge you with slander and defamation. Well, that would be, yes, that's right. That's right, because, you know, they would like you to think that, oh, you know, the prosecutor. Let me tell you, there's nothing in the Constitution that substantiates a job as a prosecutor. There's nothing in, has anybody ever saw the job prosecutor in the Constitution? Now, let me tell you why the prosecutor is always null and void. Because in law, whatever, the only account that is valid is the parties that were there. Was the prosecutor there? So then that would mean whatever the so-called prosecutor has to say would be what? And that would be what? And that is called hearsay. That's called hearsay. And hearsay is inadmissible in court. Now, let me give you another example of invalid hearsay prosecution. You have a car accident, right? Who was at the scene? The police shows up and writes the report. Is his report valid? Hell to the no. Was he there? Everything he said, everything that's in the report is third hand, fourth hand, fifth hand. Well, we have to keep with that. A lot of people are getting too happy. In this day and age, people are too happy. But the law was to resolve valid disputes. You hit my car, I have to make you whole. That's it. Does this third party over here need to interject anything? No. And then the insurance companies get involved. I'm not going to pay that claim without a police report. Excuse me. You work for me. I pay your salary, right? You paying the premiums, right? How are you going to tell me that you're not going to pay my claim unless I give you the report of somebody who wasn't even there? See, that is a valid claim that can be brought into a lawful court. But we don't know nothing about insurance. We don't know nothing about law. This is why everybody can walk all over it. How many people are in these jobs where they taxing you because you don't have insurance or you have insurance? Now, Obama's Obamacare, when he put it on the table, the Supreme Court ruled you cannot compel people to take insurance. But because the vast majority of people don't know jack about law, they don't fight that crap. And so people will rob them. Everybody is in our pocket. Everybody. And the thing about it is, we don't even have lawful money in our pockets. They're taking that. And we're not saying anything. The vast majority of people remain silent. And then you all may get this information and you want to go and run and tell your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your aunt, your uncle. And all of them may very well call the police on you. In the Matrix, what did he say? You can't unplug everybody. Some people have gone too far. They become dangerous when you try to unplug them, right? The prophet said, Prophet Noble Jewelry, he said, I gave you enough to save a nation. Now do what? Save yourself. Did he say save yourself and your mother? Save yourself and your father? your sister, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your homegirl, your homeboy, not even your daughter, your son, yourself. Because trust me, some of those people in your family will call the popo on you if you try to tell them about nationality, heritage, and law. They will call the police. Oh, they're crazy. Let me call the police. I think they're crazy. They're saying strange things. Next thing you know, the police is knocking on your door, doing an investigation. I hear your sister said that you're crazy. She's concerned about you. That police don't give a jack about you. You are simply a revenue generator. This is why Prophet Noble Juali said, I gave you enough to save a nation. Now save yourself. Save yourself. Because if you never get around to saving yourself and you go running to some of these so-called family members, they may never afford you the opportunity to save yourself. You'll be in the mental institution, locked up. Because, look, these people is hungry for finance. They need it bad. All right, I'm good with this time. All right, so I want to ask about government. How many people know what government is? Okay, we got institution for the people, family, anything else? The people itself. Anybody else? All right. Yeah? All right. Yeah? I like that. Bad, yes it is. But I'm just saying, I like that. Now, in order for you to really comprehend what government is, you've got to go to the beginning. Now, tell me the name of one government that you think is valid. One big mega government that you think is valid. One. No. I mean in terms of colonizers. Yes, there's one right here. United States. Let's look at this. The United States. Now, can somebody tell me, when did the United States get established? It's 1774. Right? Now, prior to the United States getting established, what is the United States? It's what type of a corporation? Union Company. Now, before the United States was established, they came out of where? What was the first company established by Britain on this landmass? Virginia Company, right? All right. Now, and that happened about when? I give it to you. 1609. That's the first charter that was given. Wait a minute. Prior to the Virginia Company, there was no company. It was a charter that was issued by Elizabeth to, anybody know who? You gotta know this story. Who did Elizabeth issue the charter to in 74? There you go. Her homeboy, Walter Raleigh. 1574, Walter Raleigh. Now, Walter was given the assignment of creating a company from Maine, what is today called Maine, to Virginia, I believe it was, and some land in between. But can you imagine holding down a company built from Maine all the way down to Virginia? Can't do it, right? Which is why he failed. And he sold his charter to somebody else. The Virginia Company was established by a charter to the Duke of York. And that came from his brother, Charles II, I believe it was. Right? Y'all know this history? All right. Charles II gave a charter to the Duke of York, said, go up there and take over the companies established by the Dutch Republic. Now, how many people know who the Dutch Republic answered to? The Dutch Republic answers to the Holy Roman Empire. So the Duke of York was able to take over the sales territory. All right? And the first company that was established was the Virginia Company. Now, the 13 colonies that everybody talks about, are they colonies or are they companies? Companies. So, from 1609 to 1774, they had 13 colonies. They said, hey, how many people are a welder? How many people are a member of a union? Anybody? Was a member of a union in their time? Tell me some of the union numbers. What? All right. All of these are union companies, right? So now, union companies, what did they do? They consolidated all of their companies, right? In the case of unions, it's companies too, right? Companies and workers, right? Right? And they said, we're going to establish a union. And we're going to delegate to unions 731, 1199, 1105, DC 37, Local 3, certain powers, right? To act on behalf of us, its members, correct? Yeah. And so the union 731, 1199, 1107, DC 37, Local 3, they all go out and they make sure that you get the best deal, the best benefits, that you're safe, right? That nobody's taking advantage of you, right? The United States Union Company does the same thing. Yes? Same thing. They are doing the same thing. They are doing it. Now, let's look at this word. Government. The word government, the root is govern, right? But this is an English word. Am I right? So now, how many people have looked up the word govern in an etymology dictionary? Anybody? When you look it up in an etymology dictionary, this is what you're going to find. Governor, right? You know that word, right? And right below it is governess. A governess is a teacher, right? And the dictionary says a governor, governess. A governor is the male equivalent of a governess, and a governess is the female equivalent of a governor. So, has New York ever had a female governor? Never? Well, some states have had female governors, and they really weren't a governor. They were a governess. So now when we look at this word government, and we look at the root govern, and we realize that the parties that administer this, do the governing, is a governor and a governess, and these are a teacher and administrator. Tell me again, what is government to you? How can a teacher have some sort of authority over you? You got to look at the etymology of the word. And this didn't come to me until I was watching this series called Outlander. And in 1751, the main character was in prison. And one of his fellow prisoners said, "Hey, have you met the new governor?" Governor is synonymous with warden of a prison. Now, you have to know the history of this land, because Virginia Company was a prison colony. It was a prison colony. All the original 13 colonies were prison colonies. Who was it that said they read White Cargo? White Cargo, you read it, right? Didn't they break down the whole Transportation Act and how they scooped up thousands of modern Europeans, and they sent them over to the prison colonies to be worked to death. And they said that they had to do that because they had a surplus of slaves. That's right. So, today, 2018, what is the United States? What is Virginia? What is New York? What is New Jersey? They're all companies. United States companies. So they never, ever, ever had any authority to tell you what you can and cannot do. Ever. Nobody, but especially the Aboriginal Indigenous people. No one but especially the Aboriginal Indigenous people. And this is why in the original 13th Bill of Rights, it says that those of African descent can never be members of the prison colony. Never. You got to know your history. Because if you don't know the chronology of the past, you can't see how this is still being played out today. And they miseducate, misinform the people by telling you the government, which is just a prison warden of the prison colony, is an authority figure. Now, when they first started these prison colonies, their product was tobacco. And if you ever paid attention in social studies, they call tobacco their cash crop because they had no money. And so when you looked at some of the people's will that was running these prison colonies, they would will X amount of tobacco to their lineal descendants. And so when you look at the charters of some of these companies, they will tell you that the company is perpetual and it is to be passed on to their successors, their heirs, whoever is running the company. Now, something I wanted to say, and I hope it comes back to me. They don't have any authority. Yeah, exactly. They don't have the authority over anybody, but we give it to them, and they take it, and then they mentally condition us. They don't even miseducate us. They mentally condition the vast population with misinformation. They tell you the government is the authority. No, the government, that's like saying Walmart is the authority, because the government would be the employees of the prison colony. Right? Now, when the union was established, they sent out memorandums to all of the companies. All of them. That means New York City got a memorandum, because I think New York City was consolidated in 1783. Constitution was written in 1789, and it was ratified in 1791. So New York City prison wardens would have gotten a memo to join the union. They declined. So some of the companies joined the union, just like in 731, 1199, 1105, DC 37, Local 3. Some companies joined these unions, am I correct? And some declined, right? Same thing happened with the United States. But all of the companies that agreed to the tenets of the Constitution, they have to follow the supreme law of the land. And they do. It is the renegade companies that didn't join the union who violate the liberties of the people. Now, it doesn't mean that the supreme law of the land is not active and alive and well. It is. But it is for the people to enforce. And if the people do not enforce the supreme law of the land, the renegade companies will continue to molest you. Let me rephrase. The employees of the renegade company will continue to molest you, because companies have never, ever, ever injured anybody because they really don't exist. Well, HARLEM was a Dutch company that there was a hostile takeover, and they became the property of Great Britain. We all understand that language, right? Hostile takeover. That's all that happened. Because in the name HARLEM is a Dutch word. That's not even an English word. And Brooklyn, not the way it's spelled now. It was B-R-E. Right. And Nassau There's a couple. But you have to go back into the chronology of the past, because all of this information substantiates, like in white cargo, every aspect of the slave life was regulated. For example, they had to get permission from the prison warden to get married, as well as have children. And if the woman got pregnant, even if it was because the prison warden raped her, she would be fine. Does it sound familiar? Exactly. And the vast majority of people do not know this because they have not gone back into the chronology of the past. They just believe what the slaves told them. Because even the prison wardens were slaves. Because, right, you read it in White Cargo, what they did was they said, look, it's better to be the prison warden than the prisoner. And the slave territory was given to them based on head count. It was like 100 or 500 acres per head. So they enslaved their family members to beef up the head count number. It's all there. All there. We just need to go and read it and stop relying on the slaves to tell us. Now, I'm not saying that the reason that they would rather sell out their family than to be the prison warden than to be the slave was because the treatment that they received was horrible, and that's a nice way of saying it. It was horrible. So when you look at the fact that that experience is in their psyche today, it explains why they will die rather than go back to it. But here is their saving grace. We helped to free them to some degree. Now, the Emancipation Proclamation, everybody thinks, they freed the slaves. No, it did not. It freed the company. Because this is all about the company and the company's ability to continue on. The slaves have never been free. The companies were free. Because remember, the argument was the surplus of slaves. So the slaves were sent over here. And when you look outside, you see cars, you see paved roads, you see buildings, you see electricity. You go in the bathroom, you see running water, the toilet flush. You can go into the refrigerator. You got a refrigerator. You can open the door. You can go to a grocery store. You can pick stuff up that you didn't have to plant and water and pull out the ground. But if you go back to 1600 and look out your window and imagine forest, just trees for miles. And as a slave, they had to chop those trees down. And they had to build houses. And they didn't have no toilet. And they didn't have fresh water. And they didn't know how to live off of the land, so they was urinating in the drinking water. And that's why many of them came down with diseases and died. The first batch of slaves that was sent over here was children between the ages of 5 and 16. And they sent them over here with this understanding. Because they're young, they will get acclimated to the climate and survive. They didn't. Now you have to understand, it was the brutish Moors that sent them over here. And their thing was, I'm up in my house having my little get together, and there's 10,000 children down there, why, and crying because they're hungry. Get them out of here. I want to be able to enjoy myself without hearing this damn baby crying in the background. That was their attitude. Round them all up. Send them away. I want some peace when I have my little party. Very, very inhumane. But that was the reality of the situation at that time. And now the roles have reversed to a degree. They have reversed. But we have to take responsibility because it wasn't just the brutish Moors doing stuff like this. There was some of the Moors over here on our Moroccan land. And that's why we are in this situation today, because we have to take responsibility for our heart. And I'm not saying we have to forget, because it was a double cross that took place here. We freed them, and then they set their eyes on our stuff. So it was a double cross. But look, if you read the history of the Moors of Great Britain, between the Moors of Al-Morocco and Great Britain, all these treaties, numerous treaties was entered into with one intent: to break them. To break them. Because if you wasn't Islam, it wasn't valid, it wasn't necessary to honor the treaty. You need to convert. Then we'll talk about honoring treaty, but they entered into treaty because and these are British Moors who are calling themselves Christians now, all right? What the British Moors would do is, they want to get their Christian brethren out of the Moorish prisons. So they would send all of these gifts, and along with the treaty agreement. So you've given me gold and wine and horses and silver, and of course I'm going to sign the treaty. Because once I sign the treaty, you're going to give me all of this stuff, and I might let a couple prisoners go. I'm going to be back tomorrow to take some more. And that was the attitude. But you got to understand, going back to why that was even happening, because a lot of the Moors was murdered and displaced from their land. There is enough land for all of us to live in peace. But you have people who want to control instead of live in peace. And so we have this back and forth all the time. That's so not necessary. So I'm not saying that we need to forget this chronological, the past. I'm not saying that, but we absolutely need to be aware of it in terms of how we fight for our liberties today. And we need to also be aware of the part our ancestors played in this. And we need to ask forgiveness for that, not from an individual, but just within ourselves, because that's the only way that this is going to end. We got to enforce the Constitution for everybody, and we have to look at what our ancestors did, tone for that within ourselves. But we won't be able to do nothing if we don't know this past, because a lot of this stuff was absolutely amazing as we read it, and we went and we got like maps and we substantiated certain land masses. It was amazing. And why wasn't it taught? Was always the question. If you are a lineal descendant of the slaves, would you teach it in the school? No. I would want you to continue believing that it was my people over in Great Britain and in the seat of power and y'all from the day one. Because if I can get you to continue thinking that, you will continue to think that you never had any power. And you will never, ever, ever go into your mind, correct it, and gain back your power. Because the only way you're going to gain back your power is if you go back into your mind. But you have to know the past. So with that, that concludes our class. And we don't have anybody here. Anybody know how to do the invocation out? Anyone? 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 You mean Sister Mandela? All right. What are they having? Of what? Oh, she passed? When? Oh, get the hell out of here. Minnie. Oh, my goodness. Oh, I did not. Wow, they did not. Well, I don't watch. Did they mention that in the news, in the media? Wow. Wow, that's terrible. They let it. Wow. Minnie Mandela passed. Wow. All right. I should know the closeout. I say it so many times, but I don't. I don't. I should not. I should know it, but I don't. Who know it? Oh, well, come on. Let's close out. Let's close out. I should know it, too. All right. Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my God, and my salvation by night and by day. To his holy prophet, Noble Jew Ali, Priest Abdul Ali, Islam. Well,
Secretary.
hold on. Oh, shoot. My fold-out music is not playing. All right.